Are there any names or acronyms for your discipline?
Well, I've been called all kinds of things. I always remember a little brother of my student. He always calls me, "You're my little brother's eye teacher." That's not my real formal title. Mostly the formal title is teacher of the visually impaired, or they say TVI, but sometimes they'll say VI teacher. But those are the basic two that I can think of.
Yeah, a VI teacher is used quite a bit, but I think TVI is more common now.
What are your roles and responsibilities regarding students who are deaf-blind?
Well, there are several aspects. One is that providing direct service to the student, and that would be if that student needs Braille, teaching Braille, helping the student if the student has tracking problems, working on that, using adaptations such as magnifiers, CCTVs, which are closed-circuit televisions, to enlarge material. Also we provide materials to the students in large print or Braille, or adapting diagrams, particularly such as maps or charts and such. We also work as consultants. We provide consultation services to the teachers.
Especially with when you have just a visually impaired student, the teachers already don't know what to do. When we have a deaf-blind student, they really don't know what to do. And I think primary role is to kind of put them at ease, for one, and I write down what the student's visual impairment is, what it means, how they see it best, what accommodations, where they have to stand, how big the thing should be, if it has to be high contrast or low contrast, or if it has to be, they have preference to certain colors, or preference to a certain place where you have to put it, upper or lower fields, and also adaptations for the student, what they need in order to access the core curriculum or to achieve their IEP goals. And I spent a lot of time in the classroom too, just observing, because a lot of times teachers don't know what to ask. I said, well, do you need anything? They said, well, I don't know, because they don't know what's available, drawing line paper, tactile rulers, or whatever it may be, or residence boards for the little young ones with multi-handicaps. They don't know what's available. So if I just kind of go and observe and see what they do during circle time, and well, little Johnny's not participating, so maybe I can suggest to the teacher, maybe we could try this. Because oftentimes teachers don't know what to ask for or what's available, like I said.
Another important thing that we do is provide in-services.
Yes.
Just within the classrooms. A lot of times the other students in a class, it's very important that they understand what the visual impairment or the hearing impairment is for that particular student that they have in the classroom, because they're curious. Also for the school staff, so that they understand more about visual impairments and how that affects the students that they may have or that they do have in their classes. Also, we do in-service the other service providers, occupational therapists, physical therapists, speech-language pathologists, because there is quite a bit of misunderstanding by many as to what it is that we actually do. And it's very important that we do provide in-service.
And the in-service also helps the visually impaired or deaf-blind students themselves, because a lot of times, like I have one student that is losing his vision and is having trouble with that transition and not want to learn Braille and doesn't want to be different, who wants to be different. And doing this in-service, it helped him understand what his visual impairment is and what's going on. And so we helped him understand it, and then we brought in different simulators so the kids could try different visual impairments. And then we did some Braille, and they all thought Braille was cool. And when the other kids thought it was cool, all of a sudden it was okay to use. And he wrote me a note, and it said, "Miss Ellie, they think Braille is cool, you were right." And so he's doing really well.
Yeah, it's really important that the student understand about their own visual condition or whatever disability that they have, that they understand it. Because many times a student will not, if they're not really clear on how they differ from other people, they don't really know how to ask for, or when it's appropriate to ask for assistance. Maybe they just assume that everybody is struggling the same way that they are. and
True.
that if they understand the differences, you don't want to emphasize the differences frequently, but it is important that they understand differences so that they know what it is that other people are seeing and that they are not seeing, so that they know when it's appropriate to ask for assistance, particularly from the classroom teacher, when they need to go up closer to the board, or when they need to ask for something on a piece of paper that others might be able to see clearly, but maybe need to have it enlarged. They can ask the teacher right at that point, or have the teacher explain something verbally that is being presented visually.
What is the difference between a teacher of the visually impaired and an orientation and mobility specialist?
How I tend to explain it is, in a very simple way, is the VI teacher tends to work in the school, in the classroom, whereas the orientation mobility specialist tends to work sometimes out in the hallways or out in the yard in the school or out in the community, the world. And that the orientation mobility teacher is working on travel skills.
Like OT is more fine motor and PT is more gross motor. O&M is more gross motor and vision is more fine motor, do more of the tactile things. We do all the adaptations for the curriculum. If they need a tactile map or tactile geometry to a cooking project, and making the different size cups, things like that. We do a lot of adaptations for classroom things, and O&M does more adaptation for the environment in the classroom, traveling to the classroom. One example that Steve and I worked together with a deafblind young lady, and she is graduating this year and she's going to her adult program. And so I work on the tactile symbols of her new program site. And so we went around together, looked at her site, and we found tactile symbols for each site, like the kitchen, the office. I have the symbols, she touches the symbols, and Steve teaches her the routes from one place to another.